You open Instagram for the 7th time in an hour. You know nothing new is there. You know it before your thumb even moves. But you click anyway. You're looking for something. You don't know what. Maybe a notification that means something. Maybe a stranger's life that distracts from yours. Maybe one piece of information that finally fills the hole in your chest. You won't find it, because that hole was made before you were born. And for 200,000 years, your ancestors knew exactly how to fill it. In 1962, an Austrian psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl conducted a survey at the Vienna Polyclinic Hospital. Frankl had survived 4 Nazi concentration camps. He had watched men give up and die in days. He had watched others find a reason, a wife, a manuscript, a memory, and survive impossible conditions. He came back from Auschwitz convinced that meaninglessness was the deepest disease of the modern age. So he asked his patients and staff one question: did they feel that life had meaning? 55% said no. 55% of healthy, employed, fed adults said their lives felt empty. Frankl had a name for what they were experiencing. He called it the existential vacuum. So here's what we're going to do. I'll show you 4 things ancient humans did to keep the vacuum from forming. Then I'll tell you what we replaced those things with, and why the replacement is making it worse. Frankl noticed something strange about his patients. The empty ones weren't suffering from anything specific. They had food, they had jobs, they had relationships, they had everything previous generations would have called enough. But they kept showing up at his clinic with the same complaint. Boredom, a sense that nothing mattered, a vague despair they couldn't name. Frankl said the existential vacuum showed up in 3 faces: aggression, depression, addiction. The angry man at the office? Vacuum. The numb scroll through Instagram? Vacuum. The drinking, the shopping, the endless dating apps, all vacuum. But here's what Frankl saw that almost nobody else saw. The vacuum wasn't there in his patients' grandparents. Their grandparents had a war. They had a religion. They had a village. They had an identity carved into them by tradition. His patients had freedom. And freedom, without meaning to spend it on, becomes a slow poison. Frankl called this the twofold loss. First, we lost our instincts, the animal certainty about what to do. Then we lost our traditions, the human certainty about what we should do. What was left? A creature that doesn't know how to live. So what did our ancestors do that we don't? For 95% of human history, we lived in groups of 50 to 150 people. No bigger, no smaller. Anthropologists studying sand communities in southern Africa, direct descendants of some of the oldest human cultures, found something remarkable. Almost everything they did was a ritual. The trance dance, the hunt, the puberty rite, the healing ceremony, the story told around the fire after dark. Every major life transition had a marked passage. Every important emotion had a community to hold it. Every individual struggle was woven into a cosmology that said, "This matters, you matter. Your suffering is part of something larger." A San elder didn't have to ask, "What is the meaning of my life?" Meaning was the air they breathed. Their grief was held by the dance. Their joy was witnessed by the village. Their boredom, when it came, was a signal that a ritual had been missed, not a sign that life was hollow. They had something we have almost completely lost. They had what anthropologists call embodied emplacement. Their bodies knew where they belonged. Their hearts knew what mattered. Their minds didn't need to construct meaning. Meaning was already there in every gesture the day required. Now look at your week. When was the last time you participated in a ritual? Not "I had a yoga class" or "I had brunch with friends." A real ritual. Something repeated by your community, with shared meaning that marked an emotional or seasonal transition. Most of you can't think of one. So what did we replace ritual with? We replaced it with content. Watching strangers cook on Instagram, watching strangers fight on Twitter, watching strangers cry on TikTok. Your nervous system, evolved for 200,000 years to seek meaning through ritual, is now being fed an endless drip of other people's lives. No transition, no closure, no witness, no community, just thumb, scroll, thumb, scroll. A 2025 Deloitte survey of 23,000 Gen Z and millennials found that 92% need a sense of purpose to feel well. 40% feel stressed, all or most of the time. Half don't feel financially secure. But here's the deeper number nobody talks about. Almost none of them have rituals. They have routines. They have schedules. They have notifications. They don't have anything that says, "This moment matters." Listen, when you scroll Instagram for the 7th time today, you're not lazy. You're not addicted. You're not weak. You're hungry. Your body is asking for ritual. Your nervous system is asking for transition. Your soul, if you'll let me use that word, is asking to be witnessed by something bigger than your own apartment. And modern life keeps handing you a screen. The vacuum isn't your fault, but filling it with content is. Every hour you spend consuming other people's lives is an hour you're not living your own. Every notification you wait for is a ritual you're refusing to create. Every "I'll figure out my purpose later" is one more day your ancestors would not recognize you. Tonight, do 3 things. First, invent a ritual. One small thing, repeated weekly, that says, "This matters." Light a candle every Sunday before you cook. Walk the same path every Friday before you sleep. Write 1 sentence to your future self every full moon. Don't make it big, make it real. Second, replace 1 hour of consumption with 1 act of creation. Cook something instead of watching cooking videos. Write a letter instead of reading tweets. Call your grandmother instead of doom scrolling. The vacuum cannot be filled by what you take in, only by what you put out. Third, find 1 person to witness you, not Instagram, not your therapist if you can avoid it, a friend, a family member, someone who sees you without filter, weekly, and remembers what you said last week. A village of 150 people becomes a village of 1, but 1 is enough to keep the vacuum at bay. Tomorrow morning, you'll open Instagram for the first time, maybe the 7th time. But this time, you'll know what you're looking for. You're looking for what your ancestors had every day of their lives. A ritual, a village, a meaning, and nobody on Instagram has it. The empty isn't a flaw. The empty is a signal. Your ancestors built civilizations on what that signal told them. Next video. What did ancient humans do when they were lonely? Because empty and lonely aren't the same thing, and solving one without the other will keep you stuck forever.